We're heading back to Northfield Park. Where are we? We're in Pennsylvania, right? It's a very mountainous area.
Just like Breezewood.
No, is it Breezewood or Breezeway?
Breezewood.
Breezewood? That's where we just were. Good Starbucks. On our way back from Virginia, Shenandoah Downs. I had a great day. Lauren had a good day. Lauren had a bad day. Our man Logan had a decent day. Were you get up for second, right? Yeah, I thought you did. And it's funny how this game is. I was talking to a couple of my partners this afternoon that were in on both Perfect Thought and Jailbird Jog, and to go to bed last night, all in the span of 30 minutes, I went from talking to James and him telling me that Jailbird warmed up good, she was ready to go. Excited about Perfect Thought, and the Jays were up 2-1 as the 8th inning started. By the time the Blue Jays were done losing, Jailbird Jog had not made the final, and Perfect Thought was 10th. In the span of 2 baseball innings, 35 minutes, everything went to shit. And it was very, very difficult to deal with. I probably didn't get to bed really till 1:45. I was, just trying to figure out, was there something that could have been done? What happened with the 2 Phillies? Pretty sure I figured out what happened with the Jays, but it was not a good run of an hour, and the good news is both Phillies are fine. We did blood work on Perfect Thought and realized what had gone on. Her liver wasn't astronomically high; it was a little bit high, and as Megan put it, further to what I had said earlier in the summer, where this filly is much better with a little more work on her plate, she felt that maybe she was a little bit short, even with the qualifier. Qualifiers aren't races, and qualifiers are great, but when you're in a qualifier heading into the Breeders' Crown elimination, where you have to race against one of the best 2-year-old pacing fillies that I've seen with my own eyes in quite a very long time, well, that's a little bit different. Scott didn't think there was anything physically, mechanically wrong with the filly, and the fact that it was her 9th start, only her 9th start of the year, she still did theoretically have one leg of the kindergarten, potentially a kindergarten consolation if they needed her, because if I'm not mistaken, you have to race in that twice to be eligible to the final consolation, if I'm not mistaken, or it used to be that way. And then, of course, the only reason we would actually keep her going would be the 3 Diamonds in November. So, I'm going to make my answer on Perfect Thought as easy as I can. I'm going to defer to Megan. Megan always does what's right for the horses. We always try to. We try to ourselves all the time also. In regards to Cherry's Girl, I mean, you guys were front row, front and center. You saw what took place all week. I was very worried that we were going to have to scratch her again. She wasn't going to be able to race. As you can see, she was plenty fine today, but you just don't know, right? We had scoped Jailbird Jog last night, realized that there was an ulcer on her palate. One of our clients had messaged me and said, well, could we not have picked up on that ulcer quicker? Not really, because what we'd have to do is scope a filly that had no reason to be scoped. She went a slow mile, was very strong finishing up her mile, and had no indications there was anything wrong in the middle of the week. So putting a scope into her nose, well, 1, would be unnecessary for the most part, and 2, fairly invasive in the week of a fairly major stake race that's coming up. So, although it wouldn't really have been a big deal at the time, I probably would have categorized it as a bit of a waste of money. And even if we did detect it, say on Tuesday when she trained, there's very little you can do from Tuesday to Friday to treat an ulcer, right? You're talking about corticosteroids, you're talking about cortisones, and you can't use them that close to the races. Very little you can do. And honestly, I don't know what kind of a role, Jailbird Jog being off 2 weeks with the different temperature and the different track and the ulcer, and she scoped 2 out of 5 from you, because I could give you a bunch of excuses that may or may not be the reason that she was 5th. It could just be math. She gets stung to the half and trotted the middle half in 55 seconds and was 42 degrees Fahrenheit out, 5 degrees Celsius out. That could be it all on its own. Horses can only do so much, can only go so far. Just one of those fillies that's really tough to get a real good trip with all the time. And it wasn't Tim Dietrich's fault when it happened, and it isn't James McDonald's fault last night. Just a real real difficult filly to get. In a perfect, easy world, just dump her in the 5-hole, let the fireworks settle, come slow, end up flushing somebody out. Your second, third over at the worst. You know, you're 1, 2, 3. In a perfect world, that's what you do. But she's an imperfect filly. She's a young 2-year-old trotting filly that has a mind of her own sometimes. And, you know, I would have bet you good money around the last turn where 1, 2, 3 probably won. And instead, we ended up missing the final. And as I said, the good news is she had a great year. Yes, when you dig right down and dive deep into what she did and didn't do, a lot of money left on the table. I'll be the first to admit it. But still a very, very good horse, and is going to be an extremely good 3-year-old and beyond. So, Jailbird Jog, not the way I wanted to finish off the year. Now, I will preface that statement by saying the year may not be over yet. This is the time of year where horses get sick all the time. I messaged everybody in the group today. James, Jason, Michelle, and then after that, the other Michelle, which is the vet tech for Dr. Grosenbacher, had joined in, and I said, treat this filly as if she is racing on Saturday until she's not racing on Saturday. And at that point, she can go in the field. So, we'll wait and see. Perfect thought, as I said. I'll defer to Megan. I think between Megan and Scott, one, they can figure out exactly, and I guess the questions I had were directed more towards Perfect Thought. Did she eat her breakfast? Does she have a temperature? Was there any coughing? Any mucus? What's her blood work look like? And all check the boxes of she's fine. Megan said she was feeling good today. She was sharp. She ate all her breakfast. She's bouncing around. Her blood work come back. A few little anomalies. One of them being her liver. But not even high enough where you couldn't really get it under control in a couple of weeks. For sure you could. So I guess you just chalk it up to racing. Tough one to do, but it is what it is. And we'll go from there. Now, that's tough, right? All this happened, as I said, in the span of an hour. It was extremely difficult to absorb and try to get over. And as I said, I probably didn't get to bed till 1:30, 1:45 in the morning. Was up at 4 o'clock. Did a shower, got to the airport. Because I couldn't trust Pearson's, it turned out I sat in the terminal for an hour and 45 minutes. But
there was a going bet that you weren't going to make it.
Really? No, I was actually there very early. My Uber, the one thing about Guelph is there's usually always people up. Uber's always there. And I actually had to make the guy wait because I ordered it before I jumped in the shower. And then when I get out of the shower, it said he's going to be there in like 1 minute. So I texted him, I'm really sorry, I'll be out in a minute. It's no big deal. But he had me there at 5:17, and it said on the boarding pass, they would recommend you get there at 5:15. That was 3 hours before it actually took off, 2:40 maybe, something like that. So I was there plenty of time. There was no security. I breezed right through TSA. I had nothing with me other than my driving bag, so it wasn't a problem. Anyway, not a big deal. I just slept on the airplane. You know, I did that video. I did a 40-minute video this morning with Mr. Clarkson. What a nice man he is. You know, it's always cool. Amy thought it was weird. Yeah, good guy. I put it on one of our videos that if anybody was in the Dulles area and was heading towards Virginia, because that's what everybody in Washington does, drive toward Virginia on a Saturday morning. You know, if you wanted to, I'd be happy to accept a drive. And just like that, him and about 2 other people messaged me, which Amy thought was pretty weird. I think she called me a weirdo, actually, in hindsight. But, I mean, you know, to take that Uber ride, because you know how expensive Uber is from an airport or to an airport, you know, to take an Uber from there to Virginia probably would have been $130, $140. So thank you very much for saving me the money, sir. And great dialogue, great conversation with him back and forth about the horses. And the only flaw was that he's a diehard Yankees fan. Yeah. So wasn't pleased. Decked right out in full-on Yankees garb. As by garb, I mean garbage. As I get in the car. I think, and I told him, I said, there's only 2 people in the world. People that love the Yankees and people that absolutely hate them. And my dad loves the Yankees too, so it makes it even easier for me to dislike them. I don't really have a problem with the Yankees.
They're still 5 cents behind the Dodgers.
Yeah, they are on their purse cap, yeah, or on their cap, yeah, roster cap. So I was gonna make this my opening video, but you guys may have picked up on this or not. I thought it was Sunday today. Till halfway home on the truck, I thought it was Sunday. Today, I was positive it was Sunday, 100% positive. And now it turns out that I can do my videos tomorrow morning with Amy and load them for everybody. So I might do a video or two in the way. Just get rid of the 2-year-olds, get the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds out of the way. But yeah, I honest to God thought it was Sunday. 100% all day thought it was Sunday. And I'm sure if you go back and look at my video, you can see I'm like, oh, you might have to wait till Monday to your videos, right? Because I was positive today was Sunday and I wouldn't have time to do them. So yesterday started great. Time is on my side. A winner in 48.4. Looked great. Great job by everybody with the horse. 3-point blue chip race, great. Chicago Hall got parked the whole way with Tyler. That horse there, you know what? He's cheating a little bit. He's holding back, and he's in a great spot. He just needs to come forward and do his work a little bit better. Jailbird Jog did what you could to be fifth, and then, as I said, a little bit of that chart line will never look proper on the lines of Perfect Thought as a 2-year-old. So I can use whatever adjective you want. At the end of the day, that line's a bit of a skunk at a tea party. 10th beat up like that. It's just not something she's ever experienced. So I'm sure she'll be fine in a bounce back. And as I said, Scott was one and through Megan and said, I really don't think there's any reason to stop with this second. But if there had been something found today on the scope, then we definitely would have. So I'll leave it up to her, but as you can probably tell, we are leaning towards racing Perfect Thought again, simply because, one, our trainer believes we should, two, the driver certainly believes we should, and neither have any dog in the fight, so to speak. It's just more work for Megan and more work for Scott. So, and he certainly wouldn't be voicing an opinion racer if he didn't think he was going to win a race with her. He's not going to waste his time. So that's kind of how I took it. Today, Cherry's Girl. It's not the Breeders' Crown. It wasn't that, and I do love me some fairs, and it was like a Breeders' Crown at the fair today. We got the elimination in the books today. I had no idea when I warmed her up, changed her hobbles a little bit, maybe give her a little help in the turns, and I knew she was going to be a little aggressive at the gate because, one, she's starting to feel good, two, I'd left quite hard with her last start in Delaware, so she was a little aggressive coming up the gate. I timed her into the gate and let her trot out. Not only, and actually, remember, I only wanted to get her in the final, and I wasn't going to try and impose my will with Cherry's Girl. If I'd have dropped in the 2 or 3 hole, fine, but I did. You could tell that Troy had made front, slammed the brakes on. He wanted to follow me, so I trotted over to the front.
He was 99 to 1, so
I didn't even look at the program. I just knew that I had the best horse if she was feeling good, and all I had to do was keep her out of trouble, so I didn't really care. I got a pretty good breather, 30 seconds, 102 and 1. And a funny thing happened. She always trots the backstretch hard like she did in Delaware. But if you go back and watch her Delaware race, you might say, well, that's a lot faster. Delaware to Shenandoah, quite a difference. The last turn, I've never seen her not in a race, not in a training mile, never in my life. I've never seen her trot hard through the last turn anywhere. She kind of just swells up a little bit, kind of puts it neutral, moonwalks, whatever you want to call it. She doesn't walk. She won't give up the lead, but she doesn't press in the last turn. Has never done that in her life. And I put her in gear getting into the last turn because I didn't want her wandering, right? She was off by a few lengths. I didn't want her not paying attention, which I didn't have to. I only growled at her once getting into the turn, and she trotted as hard as she could. Now, I didn't really empty her right out either. I didn't let her right loose. But she trotted as hard as she could all the way around the turn and through the lane and through the wire. She felt like $1 million, which was shockingly surprising to me because I know, and as I said at the start of this video, you know exactly where we were all week with her. Monday, she was a possible scratch. She was. SAA was up high. Again, a lot of mucus, a lot of mucus in her nose, coughing. Tuesday, still coughing and mucus. Wednesday, still coughing and mucus. Thursday, no coughing. Small amount of mucus. SAA had come down significantly, a lot even more than I thought it could. And a game time decision on Friday when you guys left, and it was Dr. Latessa that made the ultimate decision that she was going to go. Not only did she go, not only was she okay, she was awesome today. You know, when I look at it from sitting behind her in the race bike and judging her as a race horse, probably the best race of her life. Not the fastest mile, not the hardest she's fought, but just the most focused, methodical I have ever seen Cherry's girl was today. That's an absolute certainty in my mind. So, it certainly doesn't erase the nightmare of the last, 24 hours. It wasn't a nightmare. It was just not great, not even bad luck, just not great racing luck. At least in Ontario. But as I said to my wife, I'm not going to second guess. I had said in the video earlier that John Schneider and I had a lot in common, right? You're left second guessing yourself all night now. Obviously, totally different stage, totally different set of pressure. But as far as my life is concerned, very, very similar. I'm always left second guessing yourself. Did I do something wrong? Could I have done this differently? And it just eats away at you sometimes. And the quicker you can turn that page,
It's a good confidence booster.
it helps to win a race. I don't care if it's at a fair in Virginia or if it's at Mohawk or whether it's at Northfield. To go on the track and get back on the horse, so to speak, and win a race is a great feeling. And to win a race with a filly that, here was my problem. What happens if she gets beat up today and she trots at 2.7 and has snot pouring out of her nose and you come off the track and you're like, that's the kind of moment that could kink a filly in her 3-year-old season. To race a 2-year-old sick, that a little bit in that voice in your head saying, is this really what you want to do? And that's why I had leaned on Dr. Latessa so much. How's the filly? What are your thoughts? He said, well, the SAA is just plummeted from 1,400 on Monday down to 140 and then even lower on Friday when you guys left. So as a horseman, I'm watching her on the track and she looks sharp. There is zero indication she has any sickness. But
She never once coughed or anything down there.
and the one thing that was great too is the stabling at Shenandoah. They had arrived the day before, and the stabling at Shenandoah was outside. And I think that played a huge role. A lot of fresh air into that filly overnight.
Cold air.
Cold air. I'm telling you what. Like I said to you, I've never seen her as sharp and content as she was today. She had fun out there today, and she's just completely changed. And what a great trip she went today. And I know you look at the mile and like, well, come on now, it's 2-2 on a fair track in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, she's a big girl, and she did it all on her own and looked very, very good doing it. So, pretty excited going into next week. I'll be able to lock horns. What's your name of your horse again? Bobby Mack.
Yeah.
You want to know a funny story? One of my dad's very good friends when I was growing up, his name was Bobby Mack,
Yeah.
Bobby McMillan. Yeah, great guy. So we'll lock horns with Bobby Mack, and you're not coming down next week, Lauren, eh?
I don't have a reason to.
No? We can probably get you a couple catch drives. What about the drive you had today? We can probably get you that one back.
Probably.
So it should be fun. I was trying to talk Amy. I got a few little things. Obviously, we'd all planned on going to the Breeders' Crown together, and I would urge everybody out there that was planning to go, whether you thought the Jailbird Jog or Perfect Thought was the reason you were going, don't just make it about our horses. There's certain things that you should experience in horse racing, and a night like the Breeders' Crown is one of them. So please don't let that deter you from going out to the track or going out and watching the Breeders' Crown. Just the atmosphere of the Breeders' Crown is something to behold. And it comes to Ohio next year in Scioto Downs. It comes to the Red Mile the year after. And these are things that you should look forward to. So if you were going to come out, please still come out. Still go out and watch the race. And I don't know where this is ending.
It's pretty close.
1,500 feet. It's not worth it. I'm just going to stay out here. Yeah, just come out to the track. So I may have to go over to Ontario. I still have some stuff that I have to take care of that I didn't quite get cleaned up when I was there. And I thought that I would get it done next weekend also. So I think subconsciously I kind of doubled down on the fact that we'd be there.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. But what I'd like to do, I had said we were joking on the way down here, Virginia's a beautiful place to begin with. And I was trying to convince Amy to go to the Virginia, what's it called? The Virginia Tech Hokies.
Yep.
If you Google their opening, the Enter Sandman opening for the college football game, it is incredible. I watched a little thing on Netflix about it, and they said that it actually registers on the Richter scale, that the noise they make when their team starts playing. So when their team comes through the tunnel. We're in the tunnel.
The tunnel.
Right on cue. Anyway, a lot to do next weekend. I don't have any idea what our family is going to be doing, but I am definitely going to be coming to Virginia to drive our girl, Cherry's girl, in the final of the Virginia Sire Stakes, championship.
The Breeders' Fund.
Breeders. What is it?
Virginia Breeders' Fund.
The Virginia Breeders. That's what we're coming for next week. So a great race today to bounce back from a couple of bad races, obviously not on the same scale, but you know what? Sometimes you just take the win. So we're going to take the win, be happy, and move on. We will do the videos tomorrow. Amy and I will do all our videos tomorrow. I might do a couple of videos on the way. We're still with Lauren and Logan. They're both very chatty. I'll be back to you guys soon.